Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how to spot good quality clothes. I'm Anesu Sagonda and I produce educational luxury content for anyone after the finer things, whether you're new to money and wanting to learn how to navigate the terrain, or you're into luxury but you want to focus more on high quality, under the radar brands, or you're young and starting out in life and wanting to reap the benefits of buying better quality from the get-go, then my content is geared towards you. This video was inspired by this particular comment. Can I go shopping with you? Of course, if you bump into me out and about, why not? I feel like you look at so many details at the same time. When I saw this comment, I thought, you're absolutely right, I do. I look at a ton of things very quickly. But I must be honest and say, I'm not somebody who particularly enjoys shopping. And what I did many years ago, we're going back about 25 years ago, when I started working, I focused on just buying very good quality clothes that would last a long time. I am someone who would be very comfortable having 40, 50 items of clothing, buying the very best that I can afford, and then just wearing, washing, and repeating the same clothes all the time. And of course, focused on timeless pieces, so I can do that. That is me at the core. But ever since starting this channel, I have come across, whether it's recommendations from a viewer, someone commenting, or I personally have come across other brands that I really like when it comes to luxury across the board. I think it's important to try as much as possible, where possible. And clothes are one of them, leather goods are another, for example. And so I am buying clothes. I feel a little bad because I feel like my exercise from the last 25 years is now a little null and void, and I'm just adding on pieces from new brands I'm coming across, trying them out, seeing how well the clothes wear and so forth. But I guess that's part and parcel of being a channel. But before I answer the comment, there are three guiding principles when it comes to shopping, and I'm talking from a personal point of view. First of all, as I mentioned, I'm really focused on buying incredibly good quality, timeless pieces, so I don't have to keep shopping. At my core, a capsule wardrobe with a limited number of pieces, and I just keep repeating the pieces. The other thing I'm really focused on is when it comes to clothes, I only buy clothes from a brand focused on producing clothes first and foremost. You will find brands with time, understandably, they will create other products in addition to their core offering, clothes. They will include, for example, leather goods, shoes, handbags, and other complementing accessories. I will typically it'll be very rare for me to buy something in addition to their clothes if that's their forte, because they're contracting whatever it is, the other items they're producing, to another company. And some brands have got it right and they have contracted great companies that are upholding their standards. But I will only really focus on their clothes, and in exceptional circumstances, I will try something else. And then the third thing is I do not believe unashamedly in mixing fast fashion with good quality designer brands, Hilux, whatever it's called on social media. I am incredibly anti fast fashion. I will never recommend it, and I'll only talk about it in context, of course, when it depends on what I'm talking about, to illustrate a point, for example. But I believe in mixing mid-tier brands. So you have fast fashion, then the mid-tier, then the top end. Mixing mid-tier and the top end. Mid-tier, think of brands like Jigsaw, Hobbs, Jaeger, Theory, for example. Brands I like and I have bought pieces from them, and then mixing with top-end pieces. Fast fashion is something I do not buy, and particularly as I'm getting older, I'm incredibly anti. And even when I talk to younger people, I'm incredibly anti fast fashion, because it's something I did, yes, when I was younger, but I moved away from it very quickly and really focused on buying quality. You pay once for something and you typically will not have to buy it again, and you save a lot of money, and that money can go towards traveling, paying off student debt, doing other things with your money. Those are my three guiding principles when I consider shopping from a personal point of view. The first thing I think of when I see something I like in a store, as I walk towards it and I'm looking at it, I imagine, what else can I wear it with? It has to work with a good number of other items in my wardrobe. It's rare for me to buy something that I'm only going to wear as a once-off. If it's something for a special occasion, then I'll typically wear it, rest it for a year or two, and then wear it again. So it'll keep coming out every few years. But the general modus operandi is to buy something that'll work very well with the rest of my wardrobe, so something that's versatile. The first thing that I'll do when I actually see the item and I think, okay, I like this could work, is I turn it inside out and I put it back onto the hanger, and then I just turn it around and just take a look at the item. And the number of times I've seen assistants giving each other the side eye or looking at me quite aggressively. And a couple have actually said, "Are you a designer?" in an accusatory manner, almost as if to say, "Are you here to see how it's made and steal the design?" And I thought to myself, I mean, it couldn't be further from the truth what you're thinking. But the reason why I always turn everything inside out without fail from the onset, I equate it to buying a car. When you buy a car, you will always look under the bonnet, because looking under the bonnet will tell you a lot more about the car than just merely looking at the car. So turning it inside out, looking at the inside, says a lot about the construction, the craftsmanship that has gone into making the garment. The type of garments I'm now primarily focused on, yes, I do buy other items, fast fashion and mid-tier. The ones I'm focused on, you will find the garment is made using a series of seams, typically French seams. French seams are neat, they're professional, they are clean. You don't see anything, it's just a very neat surface. And that's what I'm really focused on, primarily when I'm buying items. That level of construction, it takes time, it takes skill to be able to do that. It's not something that you just sew, turn the garment around and then you sew the other end. Like you do, for example, with fast fashion and the mid-tier, where you'll find they'll just use a plain seam or a double-stitched seam, and then they'll protect the edges using a number of overlocking seams on the edges. And depending on the brand, which level of luxury it is, the overlocking typically maybe neater, a little more sophisticated looking. They will use possibly better machinery for the better quality brands. But I'm focused on French seams, depending very much on what the garment is and the material. French seams tend to be on lighter, more mid-weight fabric, and that's what I typically tend to go for when I'm looking for items. The next thing that I look at, once I've realized, okay, it's all French seams, it looks neat, it's as neat on the inside as it is on the outside. I could potentially wear the item inside out and nobody would notice. It wouldn't cause a fuss at all. Most people wouldn't notice. It's only me who would know, but it's just as neat on the inside as it is on the outside. After I've looked at that and I'm happy with that, take a look to make sure there aren't any holes, threads have been cut, everything is neat and beautifully finished. I will then look at the label. That's really important to me. And the label will tell me a couple of things that I really want to know. Firstly, the material that's been used. I am focused on natural fibers. Either 100% cotton, linen, silk. I buy items that are made of wool, cashmere, for example. And I buy items that are a blend of those natural materials. So cotton and linen, for example, or silk and cashmere. And what's really important to me is with all of the items that I buy, even if they're blends or just the pure natural fiber, there isn't any man-made fiber. If there is, it is a very small quantity and it depends on the item. It's very much case by case. But what I've found from experience is that clothing items that are made from man-made fibers do not age well. With wear and tear, washing, dry cleaning, however you look after them, with time, with usage, they do not age well. The quality deteriorates. Whereas what I've found with natural fibers, but you need to focus on natural fibers that are made of good quality cotton, extra staple cotton that I've spoken about, for example, in my bed linen videos. I'm going to attach the videos above. The principle is exactly the same. The better quality the cotton, the longer the fiber, the softer it will be. And what you will find is with wear and tear, washing and wearing, the fibers become really soft. They feel absolutely beautiful against the skin. And that's something that I'm really focused on, that I enjoy, and I know the more I wear and wash the item, and therefore just buying a few items and just wearing them all the time, you reap the benefits with time. You'll also find, particularly if you focus on the better caliber of companies, is companies that are focused firstly on weaving beautiful fabrics in terms of just the feel, the quality, the longevity, but also in the way that they are dyed. I remember a recent brand I spoke about, Casey. I'm going to attach the short above. They uniquely dye their own fabrics, and then they're pre-washed. And so when you do wear the fabric, the item, and you wash it, you find color. It doesn't lose color, like I've noticed with some of the other brands, more of the fast fashion, the mid-tier that I'm really focused on, that the color with each wash, the garment lightens in terms of the color. So I really focus on natural fibers, very little, if at all, no man-made fibers, but it depends on the item. And then I also look at, on the tag, the washing instructions. It's really important that the majority of the items I buy are either hand wash or you can wash them in the washing machine. I rarely buy items that are dry clean only. Dry clean only, you'll find it's because it's a mixture of man-made fiber, natural fiber, typically, not exclusively. And I just don't like that fuss, because dry cleaning to me just goes against everything. You have solvents, harmful solvents going into the environment, cost implications of it, and you don't always get stains out. I typically group things during the course of the summer, and then at the end of the summer or end of the winter, I will send 20, 30, 40 items to the dry cleaners. And without fail, at least a quarter are sent back when the dry cleaning comes back, and they have to literally take another stab at the stain to remove it. They need to use harsher solvents, or they a little bit more time to clean the garment, and that's what they say, but it's a second time. It's harsher solvents as well, and I just think I don't want that fuss. I'd rather just have something that is good enough. It's a natural fiber, and you just wash it yourself. So I look at the tag, I look at the French seams, I look at the specific information from the tag that I'm focused on. I make sure everything else is neat, there aren't any excess threads or tears or any issues with the garment. Then I go down to the bottom of the garment to look at the hem. The hem is really important, and it's telling. Fast fashion, mid-tier, you will find more so with fast fashion, but you do get it. I've seen it with designer brands. Valentino is an offender, where they use a very thin thread that looks a bit like a thin twine. And if you snap that or it snags, you'll be able to pull out that thread and the entire hem will unravel. Or you will get a slightly better construction that I would be focused on, where they actually use the same thread, cotton that they've used to sew the garment, for example, and you can see that they have stitched the hem. So even if you cut the thread or it splits or whatever, you don't lose the whole hem, you just lose the bit where the thread has unraveled. But what I really like, and I noticed with Casey, a number of other brands do it, is a permanently sewn hem. And so as long as the length works, then the hem is permanently sewn. So you don't have any issues of the hem unraveling. So once I'm happy with all of that, I will turn it back to the correct side of the garment. Then I'll look at the details. So depending on what it is, pair of trousers, I will look, for example, at the hem, of course, when it's inside out. On the front, I'll look at the hardware. The hardware is really important, especially the mid-tier. You find brands will typically go for YKK zips. I'll test the zip, how smooth, how quick a movement is it. Feel the weight of the hardware. I'll look at buttons, for example. Are they plastic, or have they bumped up and it's a better quality? Is it mother of pearl? What is it? I consider those sort of details. If it's a shirt, for example, I look at the collar, how it's made. I will look at the buttonholes. Are there any reinforcements? I remember last summer trying a brand called With Nothing Underneath, primarily focused on shirts, but they've started producing other items. And I bought a number of formal as well as casual shirts. And the casual shirts, linen. And there was one particular shirt I used a lot last summer, a yellow linen shirt. But I found with washing it, the color became lighter and lighter. But most of all with the buttonholes, I literally cannot button the shirt without the buttons popping out. I have to wear the shirt as an open shirt. But with their smarter, more formal shirts, they have reinforced the buttonholes and the button doesn't move. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's just paying attention to those sort of details. looking at dresses, looking at the pleating detail, the darts, for example. I look at all of those things, but I haven't gone into a lot of detail about the details on an item, because what I would like to do is create a separate video. And it was actually what I was originally going to do before the comment, and show the difference between fast fashion, mid-tier and top end, and possibly couture when it comes to a pair of pants or a shirt or a coat, for example. I haven't quite decided what, but I was going to do that, and I would like to do that. Then I can go into detail about the seams, the finish, and just the level of finish, the quality of finish that you get, the design, the cut, the fabrics, the craft that goes into creating products. So that is something I'll do separately, and I'll attach the video once it's done above. But in a nutshell, that is essentially what I look at. I look at the garment. Do I like the look of it? Does it work with a lot of items I already have? Turn it inside out, see if it has the French seams. If not, if it's plain seams, double stitched seams, how have they protected the edges with the overlocking, the type of overlocking? Make sure that there aren't any additional threads. It's been neatly finished, beautifully finished. I look at the hem, and then turn it back and then look at the details that are specific to particular types of garments. So that is what I look at in a nutshell. And I look forward to just having a fuller conversation and talking in a little more detail, other things you should consider, because I'm a huge fan of buying the very best you can afford. The items I will talk about, I try and include mid-tier, top end of the market, are pricey, but you truly get what you pay for. It's worth saving, waiting for sales, buying the items on promotion, attending sample sales, for example. But buying quality will serve you incredibly well in the future. You will save a lot of money in the long run. So those are the details I look at literally in 1 to 1.5 minutes. And I make a decision very quickly and move on to either the next item in the store or leave the store and try something else. Do any of my viewers do the same? Let me know what you do, how you shop, how you assess quality in the comments down below.